Welcome in, everybody. It is the Warchant Report powered by Cummins. I'm Aslan Hajavani, joined by senior and lead writer for Warchant.com, Corey Clark, and our managing editor, Ira Schofel. Thanks so much for being here. Hit the thumbs up. We certainly would appreciate that. And subscribe to Warchant.com. It is the ultimate Seminoles sports source. And get ready for hitting the road this month. You got Florida next week, ACC championship game after that. Get the RV ready to go. Get your generators ready to go in the back of the pickup truck. Go to shop.cummins.com. Save 10% off by using the promo code TAILGATE, TAILG, numeral 8. Portable power stations, portable generators, RV generators, and the maintenance kits that go with those things. You can save all over there at shop.cummins.com. Corey knows a guy that's got a Cummins RV. I'm going to keep mentioning it. It's my best anecdotal story ever for pitching a product.
Absolutely, buddy.
Hi, Keith. Shout out to him. And shout out to all you folks for being here again. 6:30 Florida State home finale against North Alabama and Doak Campbell Stadium. It is senior night. It's going to be a fun one. CW, if you can't make it to Doak, last time we'll be rocking over 70,000 folks in attendance. So we can't wait for it. Let's look at a bit of a big picture outlook, I guess, Ira, since it is North Alabama. No offense to our opponents here, but there's not even a line out there. So let's just kind of talk about where Florida State is right now, where we see them going. You asked Coach Norvell on Monday about the kind of temptation to maybe rest guys in a game like this if you're able to which Coach Norvell said, we're going to make sure that everything we have planned from when we started in the summer to where we are now, everything is planned for what it needs to look like and what it's going to be. Sounds like a guy who had a master plan, and it really has kind of gone according to plan. Is there any way this team could possibly be in any better position than they are right now, Ira?
Probably. I think there's a couple guys on the offensive line that I think would be you'd love to have fully healthy. Robert Scott has not played much at all this year. Maurice Smith, we've seen him in multiple games now where he's kind of been like limping around between plays a little bit, really dealing with something. And so that group, I think, if you had a healthy Robert Scott and a fully healthy Maurice Smith, I think the offensive line would be pretty salty. They've had some issues, certainly against when they played the better defensive lines, Miami, Clemson, even probably Duke to a degree. So I think that's the one area. But, yeah, for the most part, I think it has gone pretty well according to plan. And I think that they've adjusted to whatever issues they've had. There have been games where they were down all those wide receivers up at Pitt. They found a way to win. There's been games where the running game wasn't very effective, and they went to the pass. They found ways to win. So I think they've done a good job of adjusting. It hasn't been everything been a perfect scenario. But, yeah, I think if you had told Mike Norvell 10 weeks ago that this is where you're going to be sitting in Week 10 going into North Alabama and Florida, I think he would have taken it because I think they're still in really good shape.
Yeah, I feel like they wanted to navigate September, right? Corey, like get past LSU, get past Clemson. And then now you kind of blink and you look and you're like, man, we're 10-0. We can kind of maybe deal and manage with these issues on the offensive line. It's not the worst. I mean, it's hard to imagine them being in a better place, at least for me right now.
Well, because you avoided so far, other than Robert Scott, you haven't had an injury that's derailed an entire season for one of these players. There's been guys that have been banged and bruised that have missed games here and there. But this is a good get healthy week. I know Mike Norvell wouldn't say that, but it is. It just frankly is. You get the benefit of playing an FCS school the week before your in-state rival. Your in-state rival, meanwhile, is playing a top 15 team on the road at the same time. That's an advantage. I know you got to play at Florida, but it's a pretty big advantage to get North Alabama before Florida. Louisville, who you're probably going to see in the ACC championship game, is at Miami and then an in-state rival against Kentucky. So when you look at it that way, being 10-0, getting to the 10-0 mark, relatively healthy, right, Ira? Like nobody's healthy in the middle of November. No teams are healthy, but relatively healthy where guys that if they are slowed or banged or bruised, maybe they play 15 snaps in this game or 0 because the bigger games await. So getting to this point, I don't know that getting to this point with no catastrophic injuries, I don't know that you could have asked for anything better when this season started back in early September.
If I can interrupt real quick, Aslan, one thing to follow up on what Corey said, I do think that he has been pushing them this week at practice. Like I kind of envision, man, like just take your foot off the gas for a week. Let's let these guys recharge, reset, and go into this game. But to Corey's point, some guys I think will be limited, and some guys who are legitimately dealing with injuries, not just sore. Some of those guys probably will get lighter loads. But everybody else, man, I mean, it's been intense. And we were all out there Tuesday, and I heard more profanities from a few coaches than I normally hear, where they were just, getting after guys. And then there was a kind of a scrape at Wednesday's practice between a couple of the guys going after each other. So it has not been the week maybe I envisioned. I think some guys are getting some rest, but for the most part, and he's still pushing them because I think to his larger point, this is another week to get better for preparing you for that Florida game and that Louisville game. And I think they've tried to do that.
I mean, I guess they could be number one, but they are number 4. They are undefeated. So what is most surprising, Ira? If we would have told you this, in July or August, that Florida State's going to have a top 20 offense, they're going to be number 4 in the country. They're going to be 10-0. Would you have expected that Jordan Travis would be a little bit higher than maybe 7th on some of these sports books when it comes to Heisman odds? Or would you be more surprised to find out that they are this successful and Jared Verse has had the same amount of pressures this season as he did last year? And in last year, he played like in 30 less snaps.
Yeah, of those scenarios, I probably would have been more surprised by Jared Verse. I mean, I never thought Jordan was going to put up huge numbers. Even though you brought in Keon Coleman and Jaheim Bell, and they're super talented players to go with the Johnny Wilson and some of the other talented receivers you have. I just know, the way football goes and the way this offense goes, that they like to spread the ball around and people are going to try to take some of that stuff away. And then they're more than happy to beat you with the running game. So I was never expecting Jordan to put up huge numbers. So the Verse thing surprises me some, but then you watch it play out and you realize that I don't think it's a knock on him at all. I mean, if you have to watch them play and you watch how teams block him, he gets a lot of double teams, and sometimes that's over talked about. But he legitimately, they'll even tight ends and backs and things to kind of mess with him and deal with him or roll the pocket a little bit. And so he hasn't had a ton of just opportunities, probably like he did last year. And so that, but the numbers are a little bit more surprising than I would have thought. I thought he would have had bigger numbers than probably what Jordan has.
What's more surprising for you, Corey, that the Florida State is number 4 and their quarterback is not one of the leading Heisman contenders, or their top 10 NFL draft pick maybe hasn't had the number of sacks that maybe some people had anticipated?
No, because I think a lot of that is guys getting rid of the ball quick. Like I don't know who leads the country in sacks at the Power 5 level, but I can't imagine they have 13. Like, I think we're in the era now where the league, the national leader, the best players in a conference will have 8 or 9. These quarterbacks are so good at getting rid of the ball quick. I think the fact that they're 10-0, Ira, and has there been a Jordan Travis game? Like, where you're like, he just took over the game. LSU, you could say that, but I thought that was more of a Keon Coleman game, quite frankly, and the defense took that over. Like, he's been very, very good. I'm not saying he hasn't, but I would have thought for them to be 10-0, he would have had to have a couple of just absolutely special, mesmerizing moments, and he really hasn't. He's just been awesome the whole year. He's just been like kind of a straight line, really good, which kind of tells you there's a lot of talent around him. The talent has gone up to the point where Florida State doesn't need an unbelievable stratospheric campaign for their senior quarterback to be 10-0. He's just got to play like he plays, which is very, very good.
Which, hey, by the way, they actually debuted a billboard in Bristol, Connecticut, home of ESPN, with Jordan on a billboard pushing for the Heisman.
I like the Air Jordan line. I thought that was pretty creative. H-E-I-R.
H-E-I-R, yeah. That's good stuff.
By the way, Jonah Ellis of Utah leads the country in sacks from a Power 5 program. 12, Corey. Look at you.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, that's more than I thought that he would have had. 12. But Jonah Ellis, man. Good for you, buddy.
Nailing it. But I guess goes to your point about, maybe not being monster sack numbers right now with only 2 games left to go. Guy from Louisville's up there in the mix, though. Ashton Gallant. He's got 10. So
come and get some in Charlotte. Ashton Gallant. Yeah.
All right, we got plenty more to talk about, including maybe a really good recruiting week for Florida State coming up, what that means, not just for the here and now, and maybe what that could mean for the future and just how established Florida State could be under Mike Norvell. We're talking about that right after this here on the Warchant Report, powered by Cummins. Hit the road and follow the Noles during their sensational start in your RV or motorhome powered by Cummins, a global power leader. The Onan QG 5500 generator is a perfect fit for your fifth wheel or Class A motorhome. It's powerful enough to run not one but two air conditioners with power to spare, and with its exceptionally low level of vibration, the QG 5500 has earned the title of quietest in its class. Its self-diagnostic capabilities, in addition to digital voltage regulation, assure stable, reliable power. Short power connections, never a given when you're making pit stops on your travels, and especially when tailgating on the road. And hey, your RV is your home on wheels. Get every ounce out of it with reliable, quiet power from the Onan QG 5500 by Cummins. You can save 10% on the QG 5500 when you use the promo code TAILGATE, TAILG, then the numeral 8. Visit shop.cummins.com or rv.cummins.com to find a dealer near you. Welcome back in. It is the Warchant Report, powered by Cummins. Thanks so much for being here. Aslan Hajavandi, Corey Clark, Ira Schofel. Hit the thumbs up, please. Leave a comment in the section below, sounding off on how you think things are going. You also can leave a 5-star review if you're listening to us on a podcast form. This is also a podcast. You don't stop. Recruiting never stops. Michael Langston, Matt LaSerre, always covering things recruiting-wise. Matt LaSerre now, though, going to give us a breakdown on what recruiting has been looking like for Florida State after that big Miami win, and with a huge rivalry game against Florida looming next week.
What's up, everyone? Instead of matchup stuff this week, we will be doing a quick recruiting update here on the Warchant Report. To start off, we'll go into 4-star cornerback Kai Bates out of Edgewater High School in Orlando, Florida. Kai Bates was previously committed to LSU, but he decommitted only a few days after visiting Florida State for the Miami game last weekend. Me and Michael have already put in RPM picks to Florida State for Kai Bates. Just follow the visits, guys. I mean, he decommitted right after visiting here. That says a lot, in my opinion, and it says a lot to Michael as well. Another prospect that Florida State kind of made momentum on in that big recruiting weekend last week was with 5-star plus wide receiver and, according to the On3 industry rankings, #1 player in the country, Jeremiah Smith. He's visited a lot since committing to Ohio State. He visited back in July and called Mike Norvell the best coach in college football. And to me, that was like, well, that's kind of weird. Like, why would you say another coach that you're not committed to is the best coach at college football? And he came back again this past weekend outside of Doak Campbell Stadium directly after the game and said Florida State was in a good position. So Florida State is clearly making momentum there as the Seminoles try to end this 2024 class with a bang. And another person who Florida State is still going after is 5-star defensive lineman LJ McCray, who is committed to Florida. He took an official visit to Florida State a few weeks ago for the Virginia Tech game and then committed to Florida, I believe, a week later. And he was already back with teammate Zay Mincy for the Miami game. This is someone that Florida State is still pushing for. This recruitment is not over yet, and Florida State is not going to stop until that pen hits the paper. As for this weekend, it won't be as big of a recruiting weekend as Miami, obviously, but there are a few people who have told me or Michael that they are likely to come this weekend. 2025 4-star running back Alvin Henderson has already been here twice this season. He gets along great with this staff. He even says he wants to keep building relationships inside the staff, but he knows they're real. He's even said that to me after the game. He knows what this staff is. He feels comfortable with it. He has said before he's going to commit soon. Now he switched it to he's going to wait a long time. But I still do think this is someone who Florida State is in a very, very good position with. He was a very late addition to that Miami list, and there's a good chance he will be here this weekend as well. Now, we don't have that full list yet, but stay tuned to the premium recruiting board at warchant.com. That list should be coming up soon in the next day or two.
Thanks a lot to our own Matt LaSerre. You can always check out all the premium recruiting over at the premium recruiting board. Stuff happens over there first. It usually is right spot on, so you want to check that out. Corey, let me start with you. Lots of good news there from Matt in terms of what Florida State is kind of closing in on this week on some prospects, and maybe before we hit that early signing period. Just how important will it be to get that maybe #1 class at least closer? Will this be kind of like a proof of sustainability? Will it give Florida State a level of legitimacy they have not had with Mike Norvell if they can have a top 2 recruiting class when it comes to getting high school athletes and talent?
No, I think top 5 is all the proof you need, right? Like if you're hanging with Georgia and Ohio State in the recruiting rankings in 2023, you're doing good things. And that was the one box we knew he could kill it in the portal. We knew he could run an offense and call an offense and develop quarterbacks. We knew all that. What we weren't sure of, just because of where he came from, Arizona State and then to Memphis, he had never recruited really against the likes of Alabama and Auburn and Georgia and Florida and all these schools. So for him to be sitting poised at a top 5 class, maybe, I don't know, I guess there's a chance it could be 2 or 1. But in this conversation, in this neighborhood, is proof enough, man, because this is how you sustain it. You keep stacking your depth chart. Look at Georgia, man. They lost Jermaine Johnson, and it didn't miss a beat. Like you keep stacking your depth chart with 4- and 5-star guys. That's how you sustain. And Florida, I'm not telling anything that Florida State fans don't know. You guys watched a dynasty, so you know how it works. But that's what we wondered. We knew he could do it in the portal. We knew he could kind of, glom it all together and make a good program, a very good program, as it turns out. Didn't know he could kill it like this in the recruiting, but he's checked that box off the list now because this has a chance to be, like we've just talked about, one of the 2 or 3 best classes in the country.
What do you think, Ira? If they can get another 5-star or 2, they probably move up to number 2 at least at that point. They're 3rd right now. And does that give Mike Norvell like more cachet in terms of just the way people talk about this program and what they can be and the sustainability of what he's trying to build?
Yeah, man, especially if the rumored or potential possible flip at some point of Jeremiah Smith, the 5-star wide receiver, number 1 player in the country, who's committed to Ohio State. They're right in front of you. If they lose him and you get him, and we don't know, we'll see if that happens. If it does happen, then again, you're either closing the gap to number 2 or maybe even becoming number 2. So yeah, they're in great shape. This class is way better than any of us expected. And to your point, I think if they had been top 10 this season recruiting, I think you would have felt like, okay, things are heading in the right direction. I remember during the summer talking to Michael Langston, our one of our top recruiting guy, our most experienced recruiting guy, along with Matt, and he said, yeah, man, they might have a top 10 class. Then once they started, it looked like they were trending for KJ Bolden, a 5-star DB, and Charles Lester, another 5-star DB. Along with the Luke Krummenhoek and Cam Davis on offense and all those receivers they've got committed, that, okay, I remember the conversation. At one point, he's like, man, these guys may mess around and get into the top 5. Well, here they are. We'll see. There's still a few more weeks before signing day. But if they're a top 5 class, to me, it's exceeded any expectations or any probably any dreams that Florida State fans have. And yeah, I think, as Corey said, it's the last really box that Mike Norvell probably had to check off to kind of convince fans that he's the real deal for the long term. And if he does that, I think he's done that.
There would be some sweet irony, too, if they were to flip the number 1 recruit in the country after what happened from what happened 2 years ago. But don't you think, Ira, that like whether they're 2, 3, or 4 or 1, the way they are right now, he's proven it. Like, look, this is a place where kids want to come to. Even if they miss out on a Jeremiah Smith, well, he's thinking about them. Like, they're in the conversation with these guys again. That's such a big deal.
I mean, a level of blue chip talent.
Yeah.
The top recruits. So you're talking about, they've got, I think it's like, I haven't looked at it recently, but I think probably 8 or 10 of their players are among the 2 or 3 best players at their position.
And I think I was looking at it earlier today. Like, I think they have like 10 of the top 200 players in the country, or 11, something like that. And it's like, man, it reminded me of back in the day. Like, even like opening up my Athlon or Street and Smith magazine and looking at the top 100 recruits and be like, oh, there's 9 Florida State guys or 12. And obviously when Jimbo had this thing rolling, it was like that. And this seems like, it's such a great sign that we know he's going to be able to do well in the portal because he's proven what he can do with guys in the portal. We get it. But to be able to do this on the high school level sets you up for such in my opinion, a more sustainable long-term future.
We need to get Corey. Corey needs to get Bill Buckhalter on a video.
Or Forrest Davis. What's Forrest Davis up to? Yeah. Max Impinger.
Corey, you mentioned stacking these teams, or rather these classes on top of each other. I mean, the luxury with that is that you know what you're going to kind of have year over year. Right now, Florida State's going to lose a lot of talent. We're thinking a receiver, quarterback, obviously, and then probably along the lines of scrimmage. So what are you kind of most interested to watch on Saturday? Do you want to see how the young quarterbacks perform, whether that be Tate or Brock or AJ, or are you going to keep an eye on these defensive and offensive lines that are going to have to be quite addressed and retooled come 2024?
Yeah, I just don't know what I could find out about the offensive line or defensive line against North Alabama necessarily, because you would hope any of the guys that are in the 2 or 3 deep on Florida State's depth chart will move those guys around from North Alabama pretty substantially. I do want to see I just want, I guess it's skill players. I do want to see there, you got some freshman DBs and you've got some freshman wide receivers. Hopefully Hakeem Williams can be more up to speed. Vandravius Jacobs, guys like that, man. I think Destin Hill, they're your future. Like, obviously Jeremiah Smith would be a nice get. He'd be a good addition to that wide receiver core, clearly. But man, you've got some real talent, young talent at the wide receiver position that you'd love to see them get a chance to shine in front of fans, even in a game against North Alabama. So I want to keep my eye more on the skill players on offense and defense. The quarterback, yeah, it'd be nice to get Brock Glenn and Rodemaker some work as well.
Ira, we heard Casey Roddick after practice on Wednesday just kind of gush about all the young offensive linemen they have, because they're going to be the future and they're going to be the present pretty soon. Could you see maybe the way they perform against North Alabama giving you insight into just what they have coming back for next year and what they might need to address, or you worried about quarterback or maybe some of the other positions Corey touched on?
I just had Whitney Houston singing in my ear as you were talking about the children are our future.
Yeah.
It's another current reference there, Corey.
Yeah.
I get what Corey's saying, and it's true. It's going to be hard to get a great evaluation of the linemen, but there are some linemen I really want to see. Jalen Early is a guy who I think has really impressed a lot of people. Casey Roddick singled him out, that he's had a really good season on the practice field. He hasn't gotten in many games, but he's had a really good year in the practice field. Julian Armella, we certainly want to see more of him. He was so highly recruited coming out of high school, and has played a little bit, but it would be good to see him get out there and just – you'd like to see multiple series from some of those guys, just how they operate. Do they know the plays? Do they know what they're doing? Can they execute at a high level without false starting? So I'm excited to that. Now, the defensive line, there's a couple of guys I know a lot of fans are going to get excited when they hear this. Ayobami Tafasi is a guy that has not gotten a lot of playing time. Aslan is all fired up because, I get that people want to see him. I think this is a good opportunity. Real quick on him, super talented guy, big, strong, physical guy, but obviously there's more to playing at this level than being strong. You got to know your assignments, the technique and all that. He was very raw coming out of high school. I think he's a guy that didn't play a lot of football coming up. So, but you'll get to see his power. And then I really like the young defensive lineman from North Carolina, whose name now is escaping
KJ
me.
Sampson.
Lorenzo Featherstone.
KJ Sampson. I like him a lot, man. I really do. I think he's going to be a star. I really think he's going to be a star down the road. And so he's a guy I'd like to see just in a game situation.
Yeah, I feel like he's come on the last few weeks of practice, making some kind of flash play. So that it'll be nice to see how he can kind of perform there for sure. All right, only one segment left on the Warchant Report powered by Cummins. It's usually it's one of the favorites. Kind of mixing it up a little bit, though. You'll like it, I hope. Stay here. We're coming back with more Warchant Report powered by Cummins after this. Check out the mobile power solutions from Cummins, a global power technology leader. Own-in portable generators are versatile portable generators for your everyday or on-the-go power requirements. Choose a model to power your lifestyle, from working on a DIY construction project, tailgating from your pickup truck, or powering your critical home appliances during Florida hurricane season and power outages. Cummins offers own-in portable generators from 2,500 to 9,500 watts. Use promo code TAILGATE, that's TAILG, numeral 8, for a 10% discount on a P2500i at shop.cummins.com. The P2500i can power you for 10 hours on only 1 gallon of fuel, and its double insulated housing keeps you humming at a peaceful 52 decibels. Get it again for 10% off using the promo code TAILGATE at shop.cummins.com. Welcome back into the Warchant Report powered by Cummins, warchant.com, your ultimate Seminoles sports source. Hit that thumbs up, we certainly would appreciate it. And head over to shop.cummins.com. Use the promo code TAILGATE, TAILG, numeral 8, to save 10% off numerous models of the portable power stations. This one right here, the Big Hoss, the PS1000. This thing can just juice up the whole joint, as well as their portable power stations. As I mentioned, the portable generators, RV generators, and the maintenance kits for the generators. Maybe it's holiday shopping season for the person you love in your life. Get them a portable power station. I've always said, guys, I've always contested the 3 items that you can never go wrong with buying somebody are an umbrella, a flashlight, and a good electric toothbrush. I have now amended that to like a portable power station, which is
Okay, nice.
batteries. Who doesn't need take it to the game with you? Not the, Doak Campbell Stadium, but like your Little League game. Everyone's going to want to plug in their phones to charge in, get a fan going, keep you cool. Maybe a space heater since it's getting cold out there. This can handle it all. Go to shop.cummins.com. Promo code is tailgate. We usually make our picks. We throw it to our staff and they make their predictions. We all know what, is going to happen. Florida State's going to win. There's no line out there either, so it's kind of really hard to talk about. So let's do some over-unders, gentlemen. Corey usually picks these out, but I went ahead and knocked them out myself this time around. We'll start off with you on this one, Ira. First one, over-under. Tate Rodemaker passing yards, 135.5.
I'm going to say under.
Okay. Corey.
Under. I don't think he'll get enough rep. I don't think he'll get enough opportunities to throw it for that many yards.
You know what? Can I change?
No, that's not how this works.
What is it? You got to lock in our answer like Jeopardy?
Yeah, you lock it in. You can't just go on what I said.
Fine, whatever. Fine.
Why'd you say under?
Well, I said at first I thought they were going to rotate quarterbacks enough, and then I thought to myself, North Alabama has not played a Power 5 team in how many years?
I think like 17, 18, something like that.
So, yeah, man, like he may complete 3 passes for 160 yards. So now I want to go over.
Okay.
I'm going to, in my mind, whatever you guys want to do on your official record,
you can't lose
fine.
Can't
but
lose.
I know that I went over.
All right.
Start off with you, Corey, on this one. Combined receptions from Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson, 8.5.
Under.
Ira.
Under.
Okay. I thought that might have been a little too high. Ira, we'll start off with you. Julian Armella, snaps, 13.5.
Over. Hard over.
Corey.
Soft over. But over nonetheless.
Okay.
Over
because
easy.
again, he might only be on the field for 3 possessions, and apparently Rodemaker is going to just be throwing touchdowns every time. So they're going to have to get the 3rd and 4th stringers in there.
Ira, total yards Florida State's offense puts up 575.5.
Over.
Corey.
Under. And here's why. I don't feel like the defense is going to give up a lot of yardage, so the offense is probably going to get the ball a lot around midfield. So they're not going to have a lot of 80 and 90-yard drives to go, so that's going to hurt their total yardage. So I'm going to say under.
Okay.
I'm not changing my pick on that one.
That's good reasoning, though.
It is good reasoning.
Yards allowed by the Florida State defense, 177.5.
Over.
Ooh.
I just feel like late in the game, there's going to be some walk-ons. North Alabama's going to want to score late in the game, I think, and they'll get into the 200s, I think.
Ira?
It's a good number.
It is a good number.
Finally.
Yeah, it's the first one of the day.
I'm going under.
Okay.
Going under. Mike Norvell, this is his Cobra Kai game. Like, he wants blood, and he's just to send a message to the playoff committee, and it's going to be a complete annihilation.
It's going to be when old Daniel LaRusso was in the shower in the little shower outfit, and they just killed him right by the fence.
Most bizarre yet awesome Halloween costume ever.
It's preposterous. And LaRusso's not a real likable kid at all. Folks, just saying. He's probably likable in the new series. He was not likable in that movie.
There's an amazing video there on YouTube that cuts up like all the scenes and narrates why Daniel LaRusso probably actually wasn't the good guy in that movie.
Kind of seemed like a bully and kind of wasn't a real good boyfriend either.
All right, last one, Corey. Margin of victory, 52.5.
Under.
Okay.
I'm looking at, just under. I won't even explain. I think under.
I think like 59-6, 59.
A lot of points.
So
don't you feel like North Alabama's going to just take every second of the play clock? Even if they get a 3 and out, they want to spend 2.5 minutes doing it?
I don't know. We'll see. What do you think, Ira? 52.5 margin of victory.
Another fine number, Aslan. Another quality number. I'm gonna go over.
Okay. All right.
I'm telling you, Mike Norvell may come to the game with, instead of the black hoodie, maybe he'll switch it up this week and go with, or like black with like red flames, like I don't know, man. I think he's going to be sending a message this week.
North Alabama. Okay.
All right. North Alabama has to pay.
Mm-hmm. Somebody has to. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well, this goes back to Preston Parker. In the bout, yeah, there's a lot of history between these two programs. So,
That's right.
Norvell's out for blood, apparently.
If you have opinions on these over-unders, feel free to sound off in the comment section, which is fun. But if you go to the warchant.com Tribal Council, we have an over-under contest that you enter. And if you win, you get a $25 gift card to Garnet & Gold. And Garnet & Gold has got every single item you could imagine that you would ever want in your closet, on your person, anywhere in your house. That's Florida State branded. So you got to be a member to do that. So join warchant.com and shoot. Win a $25 gift card by slamming these numbers, these lines that I set. So
you think it works on those new Built by Storms gear that they've got, that with the money going to a good cause, a charity? I wonder, that would be cool if you could use the gift card towards the Built by Storms gear that goes to charity.
Yeah. I don't think there's any exceptions to it. So yeah, feel free to purchase that stuff, which goes like folds of honor, I guess, right? I think that's what it's called. So
nice.
There you go. Ira's always thinking one step ahead. That's why he's the managing editor of the Ultimate Seminoles Sports Source.
I don't even know who Storms is. Sorry.
I can't wait to do an entire show with an hour with Corey Clark. He's the best. So's Ira. He's Ira Schofel, managing editor of warchant.com. That's the right hand. That's Corey Clark, lead senior writer for warchant.com. I'm Mazon Hudjavani. Thanks so much for watching the Warchant Report, powered by Cummins.